Good afternoon, Grunts. Yours truly, Uncle Brian here. If you've got questions, I got answers. Table for 176 at gmail.com. You can email those to me and I will be happy to provide you an answer, even a video response if you would like. And I do this absolutely free, if you can believe that. So, today's topic, I want to talk about boundaries. Why do we need boundaries? Why are boundaries important? When you think about it, our lives are governed by boundaries. We have boundaries everywhere. Even the four walls of my home is a boundary. It's a physical boundary. It keeps me safe and it keeps unwanted people out. Okay. Unless I leave my doors unlocked, different story. But in theory, there are many types of boundaries. Like I just discussed, the four walls here in my home is a boundary that keeps me safe, keeps me warm in the wintertime, keeps me cool in the summertime. Um, as I look around the neighborhood, I see people with fences around their yards. Those are also physical boundaries. Those are to keep their pets in and unwanted animals or other people out. Other types of boundaries are deal with, don't speed. If you speed, you break a boundary, which in a sense you're breaking the law, and laws are boundaries. They're what governs people to behave in accordance to society, what expectations are. And so, but I want to talk more specifically like relationship boundaries. And this is, I feel, is a very important topic because if you don't have boundaries in your relationship, meaning if you don't have something of like personal like stuff, boundaries for people are essentially are behaviors that you won't necessarily tolerate or you'll tolerate. Um, when I'm talking about that is, for example, you're dating a girl for a while and then she decides all of a sudden, well, I want to be exclusive with you. Where do we stand? She's got this mindset that, well, we've slept together so many times. I want to know where we're at. I want to be exclusive with you. I dig your vibe. I want to be yours and yours alone. But then as a man, and like I've always told you guys, and like every other content creator says the same thing, similar things, or whatever, they're always telling you vet your woman appropriately. Vet for red flags, vet for green flags. The red flags are essentially the behaviors or the boundaries you will not tolerate with. So if she comes up to you and says, "Hey, Brian, I dig your vibe. I want to be exclusive with you. Where do we stand?" And I turn around and say, "Well, we've been going to the bars every weekend when I'm home. I see you talking to a lot of other guys. I see you don't really cook much. You don't, and to me, those would be my boundaries. I wouldn't instead just sit there saying, hey, I don't, I would say, well, I necessarily wouldn't take you seriously if you got male friends. I don't take a woman seriously that goes out to girls' nights out at the bars every weekend. I don't take a woman seriously that's overweight. Those would be examples of actual boundaries you would have in a relationship. Okay. And again, these are behaviors that, as a man, like I said, there are guys out there that are chubby chasers. There are guys out there that like to drink on the weekends, so they find a woman that fits that lifestyle. There's guys that don't have a problem with that. Okay. Boundaries are different for every man, and it's what you as an individual will tolerate. And this goes same for the ladies too. Women also have boundaries or should have boundaries of what they expect and what they look for in a man. They don't, there are women out there that are okay with guys that just got out of prison, they're drug dealers, or they got a lot of money, they got this and that, so they got no problem with that kind of lifestyle where it's reckless, it's unpredictable, it's fun, it's her fantasy, in other words. And then there are someone that want a man that's more stable, he's more secure, he's got a job he goes to work to every day, Monday through Friday. He makes good money. He's got his own house. He's got stability, security, resources. He's that kind of guy as well. And there's boundaries that women have. Hey, I'm looking for a guy that has this, this, this. He can check this box off, this box, this box. Not only the expectations, but the boundaries as well. And so, and another thing too is, you know, you got to find that person that essentially you don't have to lay the boundaries in stone. Okay. You could say, okay, look, I dig your vibe too, but here's some things that I will not tolerate with. And Nick, I guess they could be firm boundaries, but remember, guys, you don't have to enforce the boundaries. There's a difference, and kind of before I go on, there's no one's really said it to me, but just in my past relationships when I established boundaries, some people looked at it as controlling, some of them don't look at it as controlling. I think for me, when I establish boundaries, I don't enforce the boundaries. I let a woman decide what she wants to do. Like I said, women, and I'll say it again, women are their own human. They have their own feelings, emotions, the way they think. And it's as a man, when you vet these women, you have to vet for a woman that aligns with your ideals, your vision, your values, your morals. Essentially, she's in line with your boundaries, like I'll use me for example. When I look for a woman, I look for a woman she doesn't do girls' nights out at the bar. I don't, and girls' nights out don't bother me, but there's other ways you can spend your time other than going to a bar or club for girls' nights out. Um, Another boundary is having male friends. I don't won't take a woman serious that has male friends. It just male friends have broken up relationships and marriages forever. And another boundary I don't put up with is being overweight or obese. If you're overweight or obese, that makes you a liability. Same with the other two boundaries. I mean, if she's disrespecting those boundaries, that makes her a liability to you. Okay. And again, ladies, you could flip the script and say the same thing about guys. Okay, you want a guy he's not fat. You want a guy that doesn't drink excessive alcohol. You want a guy that's not addicted to drugs or painkillers. You want a guy that's not, those are also boundaries as well. And so when a woman meets a guy and he says, "Oh yeah, I'm a straight shooter. I'm clean. I don't," and then he's a closet alcoholic. He shows up at your place drunk. That's obviously a clear sign that he's disrespected the boundary, which is a disrespect towards you. And so that's what people don't understand is they're like, well, there's no, like I said, boundaries in a relationship are not, don't enforce those boundaries. Because guys, when you start enforcing those boundaries, it becomes it's a control issue. You know, I just had a talk with a gal here not too long ago about boundaries, and she was saying how if the guy would have just told her no to girls' night south, the guy would have just told her no to this, or told her, even though he'd already established his boundaries, she would ask him, "Well, is it okay if I go have a drink with the girls? Is it okay if I hang out with my guy friend? Is it okay?" Well, if you're a man of value, you're going to say, "Yeah, go ahead. You can go do those things, but I can't guarantee I'm going to be here when you get back." Okay. Essentially, you're taking that responsibility upon yourself and say, "Okay," in your hindbrain, like, okay, she's violating the boundary. She knows the boundary's there. She knows this behavior is not acceptable, but yet she's asking me for my permission, which now turns it into a control thing. Okay. And guys, you don't want to be controlling. What happens then is then you start controlling her, start telling her what she can and can't do. You start treating her like a child. And then later on, you may start disciplining her like she's a child. You may start hitting her. You may start punching her. You may start abusing her is what will eventually happen. And that's not the goal here. The goal here is you establish healthy boundaries. And if she don't respect them, then you roll on out of there. You say, "Okay, well, this ain't gonna work for me no more. I can't deal with the behaviors. So I'm just gonna, this isn't gonna work. We're just gonna break it off and go my way. You go your way. You do your thing. I'll go do my thing, and nobody gets hurt here." Because what happens is the person that's violating your boundaries is actually hurting the person that's established the boundaries. So if you're a man and you got the no girls' nights out, no guy friends, don't get fat boundaries kind of deal, and she's going to girls' nights out, she's hanging out with the guy friends, or she puts on 10, 15 pounds. Well, she's clearly not respecting your boundaries, so she's clearly disrespecting you in turn. Okay. Um, I also say, do you know? don't do unto others that you wouldn't want done to you. Okay. And that's another way to look at a boundary, So if one of my boundaries is, don't go to girls' nights out to with the girls to bars and clubs, then I have to hold myself to that boundary and not go to the bars and clubs either with my friends. Make sense? Even though it's different between men and women. When men go out, guys can go out, drink peacefully, have a good time without any female involvement. But then on the other hand, when women go out, a lot of the women are getting hit on by guys. Guys approach all the time, but women will never seem to understand that difference. And so and I'm not a big drinker or I don't care to go to the bars or clubs. I've outgrown that stage of my life, but there are plenty of people that do that. And so again, there's a boundary. Everybody has different boundaries, different expectations. And so what works for me may not work for the next guy, not the next one, and so on and so on. And like I said, ladies, you can even apply this to yourselves when meeting men. What kind of guy do I want? This is what I expect. This is what I don't want, so on and so on. And then the last thing I want to talk about is what if she disrespects boundaries? I think I touched on this a little bit, but if you feel the boundaries being respected, and a lot of times women will do it like the gal I was talking to, she would ask her guy, is it okay to go to girls' nights out for a few drinks? Okay, well, where are you going to get those drinks at? Oh, we're going to the local Eagles Lodge or we're going to the bar down the street. Well, that's a boundary that we've established. You agreed upon it, and yet you're asking me for permission. Again, guys, you do not have to enforce any boundary. You lay the boundaries out there and you tell her this is what you expect. If she proceeds to ask you to go to a girls' nights out for a few drinks, you say, yeah, you can go. Again, guys, again, she's her own human being with emotions and feelings. She can make those decisions for herself. Okay. Yeah. Hey, let her go. Yeah, you go have a good time. And then you tell her, I won't promise I'll be here when you get back. And then let her think about that. Well, all you gotta do is say no. Well, if I told you no, you're gonna tell your friends, well, Brian said I can't go out. And then guess what? It becomes a control issue. Oh, he's controlling you now. No, no, I'm not. The only person I have control over is myself. Trust me, I don't want control over her or you or anybody like that. The only person I control is myself. I don't control anybody else. I don't. No, no. If she disrespects the boundaries, and it's simple as that. If you're a man of value, like I said, if you have different options, if you can go out there and okay, I'm done with her. She doesn't respect boundaries. I'll sit on the sideline for a few months and you can get right back into the game and meet somebody right away. If you're that kind of guy, that's usually how the higher value men operate. They don't tolerate with bullshit. Okay, if you don't respect the boundaries and this doesn't work, then I move on. You move on, I move on. We're good. Uh, I look at it this way: if she's disrespecting your boundaries, okay, it's a disrespect towards you. It's disrespecting you, okay. And so you don't need to explain. It's okay. You go do you. I'll go do me. We're done. We're good. You don't raise your voice to her. You definitely do not raise your hand to her and try to beat her to submission. You don't sit there and whoop her ass. I told you this is one of our boundaries. There's no girls' nights out, and you went ahead and did it. And no, we don't do that. Men in my group and my guys that subscribe to my channel definitely better not be doing that shit. Better not beating on the girls. They're not. There's no need of that shit. She disrespects your boundaries. You don't even warn her. You don't say nothing. You just okay. You go enjoy your time out with the girls at the bar. I'm not going to be here when you get back. So best of luck to you. I'm bouncing and out you go. But baby, I don't have to go out. No, I'm not saying you can't go out. You can go out and do whatever the hell you want, but I'm not going to be here when you get back. Okay. That's one thing you have to understand as a person is you don't have control over your wife or your girlfriend or whatever. Same way with the woman. She has no control over her boyfriend or her husband. We are our own individual people with our own feelings and emotions. And you got to meet somebody that it just kind of goes like this. It just goes in there. It fits. Your values are aligned, your boundaries are aligned. It fits like kind of like this. It goes in hand in glove essentially. Um, like I said, I have boundaries of what of the behaviors I tolerate and what I don't. I guess I shouldn't say tolerate. You shouldn't have to tolerate anything. You should just things that boundaries are things that you won't tolerate. Okay, let's reword that. Things you won't tolerate. These are zero deal breakers. These are zero tolerance. What I won't put up with. And like I said, everybody's boundaries are different. There's a different flavor for everybody out there. And like I said, all I want to reiterate is the importance of those relationship boundaries. And if you want healthy, prosperous relationship, it has to have boundaries. Okay. It's boundaries are a way to hold not only yourself accountable, but it holds each other accountable, holds her and I accountable for what we do in a relationship. It makes your relationship stronger. It builds trust. Okay. And as a man, we are supposed to lead that relationship. So if we establish some kind of boundaries, some groundwork for boundaries of what behaviors that are not tolerated. And same thing with her. She's got boundaries that she won't tolerate from me or any other guy. That's where everything works. And so I think this is an important topic. It's a good topic. I think a lot of people get confused as to they want to look at boundaries as a control mechanism. Some people will try to enforce their boundaries, but I'm here to tell you guys, if you're a strong man, confident man, you don't need to enforce your boundaries. You just say, okay, I'm not going to take you serious if you're doing X, Y, and Z, because those are my boundaries. Those are zero tolerance for me. So if you're going to do X, Y, and Z, I'm not your guy. Just do whatever you got to do, and I'll do whatever I do, and we'll part ways and be done. There's no need to enforce anything. Like I said, um, it should never go sideways. If she's not respecting your boundaries, you leave. Plain and simple. You're done. You wish her farewell. Good luck. Toodles. I'm out. And that's what you do. You don't take anything less than what you expect in that relationship. Okay. Like I said before, women are the gatekeepers to sex, men are the gatekeepers to relationships. And usually what happens is the sex will happen before the relationship happens. And that's because women, like I said, as the gatekeepers of sex, they decide when sex happens. Okay. You don't really decide that. I mean, you could try hard to get laid and you're going to get shut out more times than not because women are they decide when sex happens and they'll have sex way before the relationship even is established. So, and after you've been seeing her for so long, you've had sex, who knows how many times, you might go 6 months, a year, just seeing each other, having fun, doing whatever. And then that year mark, she finally approaches and says, hey, Brian, what are we? What are we? But then during that year's time of dating, you're observing her behaviors. Okay, what is she doing when you're not available to her? Okay, she calls you and says, "Hey, Brian, you want to go grab a drink or something?" Well, no, I'm busy. I got my kid here. We're hanging out, playing video games, or I got something going with the guys, or maybe I just want a quiet night in. No, I'm not interested in tonight. What's she doing when you're not available? Okay, so you're kind of observing. Okay, she'll say, "Okay, well, I guess I'll go out with the girls and we'll go have a few drinks there at the club." Okay. And then you just kind of make mental note of it. Okay. She went to the club. Um, when in reality, she could be doing something else with the girls, like watching movies or whatever. But the deal is a lot of those things aren't deal breakers, but if it happens more frequently, then it becomes a problem. So, like I say, guys, you got to watch those behaviors and then If it's a boundary of yours, make note of it and say, hey, look, I know she's been going to girls' nights out with the girls and I'm not available. You seem to go to the bars quite often. I'm kind of concerned about that. I can't take you seriously if you're doing that behavior. So, like I said, guys, boundaries, you decide. Are they healthy or are they controlling? I don't think they're controlling. They can be controlling if you make them that way. Okay. If she asks you to, well, can I go to girls' nights out and have a few drinks at the Eagles Lodge? And you say no, that's controlling. How I answer that is nope. You go ahead and you go out there, have fun. I'm not going to be here when you get back. And then she's got to decide, is the relationship worth it then? Okay. He didn't tell me I can't go, but he also told me that he's not going to be here when I get back. So you essentially you put the ball in her court and she makes a decision then, okay, if I love and respect this man enough, do I need to go out to the bars with the girls? Do I need to go to the clubs with the girls? If she loves you enough, she wouldn't do that. If she respects you, she wouldn't do that. Okay. So boundaries, relationship wise, that is, should not have to be enforced. Okay. So keep that in mind. I'm out of here. Toodles.